it's the Communitary with Dan Harmon over at Yahoo.
Is flavor.
It's hard to know when to start talking when you're. I really love this episode. I'm really proud of it.
You don't know.
We definitely set out to have this season. We wanted each episode to be modular. There's a lot of Channel 101 people in these videos. If you're a Channel 101 fan, Kate Freund is Rob Schraub's wife. But I just love, Chris McKenna and I think kind of share this sensibility where it's like, wouldn't it be amazing if you just started an episode and revealed that sometime between the last episode and this one, Chang had become famous, and just don't waste time doing stupid sitcom arcs to justify it. Tell a story, it's no biggie. And I think some people disagree with that, but I just, you get to do so much more if you just say, maybe the world is a little more arch and moves a little faster and is a little more frantic. Like, who wants to spend 3 episodes teeing up Chang getting famous? Ken is awesome in this. It's funny, you would think that we did this episode because Ken Jeong wasn't available or something like that. That's not the case. It was just a random concept. I love the flourish. I love Abed's reaction. Abed's hatred of that hamminess. If I had gone back, if I could do it over again, I would have somebody say, well, it was already clearly over. The whole interview was obviously over. She's wrapping it up, and Jeff's saying, turn it off. Victor Nelly directed this episode, and I think he had directed episodes in season 4. I have to stop talking. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I think Victor Nelly had directed episodes in season 4, but we had never worked together. But his reputation preceded him. The actors had loved working with him. Gas leak or no, and just everyone that's worked with him has said he's the best. And I mean, he welcomed a community. He got handed a script the day before he shot, and he threw this thing together, man. And also all of our designers, like Denise Pizzini's team. I mean, it just brings tears to my eyes. The things that they did, like watching them come alive when you hand them a script that says, well, the Greendale Gang's going to make a space movie in the hallways, and they just set to work, and it's just great. Just love them so much. And they deserve so much better. There's a pinch of Bowfinger in this concept, right? Trying to make a movie that you're pretending stars somebody. Trying to think of the other influences on this or the conversations we had. Clay Lipari, the credited writer on this episode,
that it's sometimes the only way to survive.
He is a script coordinator. It's sort of like we have a writer's assistant and a script coordinator. It's sort of like they're like a there's a slight hierarchy difference there, but they're writer's assistants, and it's a thankless job, and they put up with serious shit on a show like this because their whole job is to deal with formatting and distribution. And in an environment like Communities where you're writing scripts last minute, it's just, if they're not on their crap, you would know. And they're pros and they're amazing. Briggs Hatton is the other one. Biggs Hatton's the writer's assistant. Clay is the script coordinator. And we just, both of them made sacrifices to come back to work for us. And both of them eat nothing but shit sandwiches working on this show. And they always do it with a big smile on their face. And Clay just had 2 kids. And the industry is collapsing, and he is awesome. And he's a good writer and a really smart guy. And so we wanted to make sure we got him an episode. And he did great. And I'm so happy that this is the episode that has his name on it, because it's awesome, and it's as awesome as he deserves. It's as awesome as he is.
They like dinosaurs. They like aliens.
My enthusiasm for my writers eclipsed Steve Guttenberg entering. The concept of this, when we heard we could get Steve Guttenberg,
I got fired from a mouthwash commercial.
Oh god damn it! There's so much to talk about this episode. The other ones, because here's the billiards joke written by Matt Roller. I love this. Love it. I just wrote in the script. Elroy said something funny. Just tag this with a joke, and then there's a bunch of different jokes, a bunch of different comments, and then Matt Roller had written this just monologue. He just pulled out this billiard ball. Fantastic.
I can do some CG for the movie.
You'll need a Chris Pratt type.
So Gutenberg, the original idea was that that's actually Steve Guttenberg, that he lives in Colorado now because of a medical condition, and then his explanation was going to be that when he was working on Cocoon, Ron Howard kept making him dive deeper, and that he got this nitrogen blood condition. Gutenberg was wary about playing himself again. He had just played himself on Party Down, and from what I hear, did a great job and was awesome. And I think I understand this with actors. They have to be very cautious about becoming, the guy who's himself. It's you
or a bad one.
It's a slippery slope.
I think we're all on the same page.
I'm sure that Steve Guttenberg wants to keep playing characters and being an actor and being taken seriously. I don't know if that got cut off because of the commercial, but anyways, so I totally understand that when an actor goes, "Nah, I don't want to be your bit," but it would have been awesome if that was actually Steve Guttenberg instead of this guy. All of these VFX are done in-house by Steve Kenny.
I need more to go on.
I think he has help as of season 5 or something like that. He's got other help, and that guy's probably wants to stab me in the eye right now. But Steve Kenny's
gifted pilot, Chief Star.
He's one of the best hires we've ever had, because
Why are we changing course?
typically a sitcom would just farm visual effects out to a house, and that bill runs up pretty quickly. If Community did that every time it had visual effects, we wouldn't be able to do anything. So we hired this kid, Steve Kenny, who sits in the edit bay, and he's just there. He's got Adobe After Effects open, and he is just there on demand. And it was an awesome hire.
My character can't have good grammar.
Not in a space battle.
Because everything else you're saying sounds really natural, like I'm a space senator.
Space mayor. I'm matching your dialogue to what I have from Chang.
All of this stuff was written, this whole idea.
This shot from that angle matches the Chang shot. Chang is
I know there was a breakthrough with this one. I remember I was just I can't fucking break this story. I don't know what it is. And I remember spending another night on my office sofa, and I really hit my breaking point on this one. And I guess something said to me well, you have to write something. And it was just one of those situations where it's well, what's the most obvious thing? It was just what was the angle on this thing? And it was just oh, well, it's the idea. It's what we're living. It's write what you know. What are you living right now? All of this energy that you're spending, worrying about crap, is it going to be good enough? Or can it just be done? Can't you just make it good enough to get it done? Can't you just do that? That's the story. Confront that on the page. And and then it's boom, it writes itself. I don't know how many times I have to make that mistake.
Are we rolling?
Victor Nelly, like, I mean, this is just he made all these creative decisions. Like the fact that, you know, the look of this sci-fi stuff.
And what is your name? Lloydia? Scorpio 9.
When I first saw it, I was actually a little bummed that he disguised Greendale too much. Like, I wouldn't have done that. That's not what I pictured. I wanted to be more like Little Rascals. Like, you can tell during the movie scenes that
Check on Chief Star, Jeff.
that it's Greendale. But I realized while editing it, it's like, no, he did the right thing. Like, I really like this. Like, he created an immersive ragtag sci-fi universe, and then when you're cutting back onto these realities, it's like you can definitely sense that you're in Greendale. So he nailed it, and he had to nail it on his own with no tone meeting, no consultation. He just took that script and he saluted and went off and did it, and he nailed it.
Can I just explain something as a filmmaker?
I wish you wouldn't. I wish you would look at what I was wearing and let that be all the explanation you need.
If you see somebody's name
You understand that sci-fi films aren't usually improvised for a weekend with a cast and crew that...
on a Community episode in general,
About finishing.
let alone as a director,
Back into a level of quality from there.
you should definitely hire that person, because they have
Really?
proven that they are capable of
Is a kind of canvas. I work on
very high degree of resourcefulness and professionalism. And
Could be if you wanted. I mean,
This will never be done. Chris Pratt's never going to stop, is he? He'll always be out there mocking.
I mean, I'm kind of racking my brain trying to think of a person you shouldn't hire that's worked on the show, and I just, you know, I wouldn't say if I could think of it, but I'm sitting here trying to think, and it's like, no, we put these people through the ringer, and
Share it with the public. Don't stay in the gym, Abed. Get this
They're
section
good.
done. Get out there and get your shirt off. Got it?
yes? Yes. I'm ready. Let's do this.
I would be lying if I said I wasn't hoping that Chris Pratt would see this and respond to it, and he did. He tweeted that it was awesome or hilarious or something, and it really made my day. Numerous Chris Pratt references. Jeff is clearly obsessed with Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
I'm Minotaur Man. What? Friends are hard to come by in space. You'd better take this for protection. The sound you hear coming from that gun I gave you is 40,000 hyperwatts of laser. Don't worry about that. I can put that back. Sometimes my eye falls off because I'm a robot. Watch out!
That's, I think, the only appearance of Magnitude in season 6. No, poor guy. I ran out of things to do with Magnitude. After Omar from The Wire looked at him and said, "You know they were laughing at you, right?" That's just my opinion. Like, I it was kind of like the end of the Magnitude story. There wasn't much left to do.
Wild West, baby. Space version of the Wild West.
I mean, look at all this crap. Look at this stuff. That's all. I mean, I had one conversation with Denise.
My eye fell off.
I had said, just, you know, water bottles and cardboard and, you know, stuff that you can recognize, so that when you look at it, you go, oh, I know how they made that, but it still, like, works, you know, and they just, boom, they just did it. And the amount that they did, it's so wasted on me as a writer. Like, like, they should be, I mean, I just want to write like a great movie utilizing these talents.
Improvise, talk it. Say you're red or shut up. Laser bomb.
I don't know if this is an episode that would have made sense, this concept. I don't know, you know, I almost feel like 5 years ago, I mean, I know NBC would have been like, no, you can't. It doesn't make sense. You can't do it. But that notwithstanding, like even audiences, I think 5 years ago wouldn't have been able to get so readily that it's like, oh, I get it. Like we're watching the finished product, but at the same time, like they're rushing through it, so they're kind of like talking during it. It's like, it's sort of taking advantage of a new world that we live in. You know, post YouTube. Post like, you know, the millennial generation having such a facile grasp of like, you know, Final Cut and stuff. It's like you're more ready to accept just this dream-like reality where it's like, oh, it's the finished product, but it's in progress, and you get it. You're never thrown by it. And it was very effortless to write. Took about, once I had that epiphany on my couch, it's like, oh, I get it. We have to be dealing with. It's about perfectionism versus getting something done. It took about 10 minutes to write all this. It just flew out.
But so what? We're gonna get crushed.
I love you?
I love you.
That's your daughter.
You're my daughter.
Yeah, you said we were sisters, dumbass.
It's hot. It's like Chinatown in space.
The audio mix should have been higher on that line. It's like Chinatown in space.
I'm the hero? Let's do this.
Yeah! They're safe!
I love that Gutenberg loves the movie.
What? I don't feel the force. I'm not allowed to. What do I feel? I feel Dracula force. I feel Dracula's signals.
You write stuff down on a piece of paper and you give it to a director that has to make Richard Erdman say this stuff, and sometimes you nail it. Sometimes he nails it. And a lot of times you just get like strange inflections and.
I'm more than a maniac. I'm Dracula.
I like that Steve Kenny, like, you know, he made this stuff. It looks good. So it's the modern version of like Doug and Bob McKenzie making a crappy sci-fi movie. It's like, yeah, the kids today, they got, you know, this stuff comes as plugins. Like you can make stuff look really good, and Abed's incredibly talented. But it's still unmistakably cheeseball, but it has a lot of effort put into it. That's awesome. Like Richard Erdman. That's how the movie ends. The hero's dead, and then the villain goes, yeah, he's right. Yeah, he's got a point.
Oh, wait, how long is it?
87 minutes.
Get it to 8-1. That means 81. I'll make some calls. We'll premiere this thing. We'll get
It would have been such an easy choice to have this producer character, you know, be jaded and, you know, not. I just love how enthusiastic he is. Like, it's not just that you could make a lot of money. Like, it doesn't necessarily go hand in hand with, oh, I don't care about this crap. He, more than the people that made the movie, is like into the movie. It's like, thinks it's a good movie.
These chains were forged from the iron of Ganymede. And the stick. I'm not gonna tell you where he is. I'd rather die.
I'm
Seems pretty important.
very proud of this story.
I mean, otherwise,
Again, it's like very astructural, but it hits on a really interesting human phenomenon, which is just, you know, I'm constantly surrounded by people that are telling me, don't overthink it, stop it, just come on, it's pizza, just give them their pizza, and they're right. But I also know or suspect that when those people get a taste, you know, of Community being, you know, a cult hit or being nominated for some independent award or something, it's like I can see in their eyes they're just as pretentious as me. They just, you know, it's just convenient for them to come from the school of phone it in because, of course, then we'd all be equal to them. And like I know that in my heart. Like I hate myself. I get cut off in the middle of I hate myself for my perfectionism, but at the same time, I'm like, I know that all these other assholes around me that are like, oh, you're trying too hard and you're being too clever and you're taking everything too seriously. And why do you want it to be good? It's just TV. None of those people work for me, by the way. But but I know that they have ambition. I know that it just never gets quenched. And so Jeff, you know, he's talking Abed into taking himself less seriously, and then he's using the metaphor of his own upper body because that's what he can access as a creative. So then they're going to cut his scene. I'm explaining everything that's on the screen to you, but I'm really proud of that. It came out organically. It wasn't overthought. The story flew out after I realized this is a story about whether or not you should take yourself too seriously.
I mean, you're literally killing me. For real? Yes.
And I do think the reason for that is, as Abed now says, it's because, honestly, God writes this stuff. Like, we're all just hanging out.
He was going to leave here except for me. Troy, Shirley, Annie's going to be president. Even Pierce got to die. Now Chang goes to Hollywood? So we force you to make the crappiest movie of all time?
And if you're an atheist, by God, I mean the universe.
And the part I accidentally got the most excited about is the 7 minutes we can cut. Do you know what that means?
It means I'm a genius, but we already knew that.
I finally know in my heart that I will literally be the last one of us here. And I know they gave digital muscles to Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy. I watched Parks and Rec. I watched it. There's no scientific explanation for how...
They're great performances. Oh, and another thing is, like, I barely touched these scenes, too. Like, I tightened some of the edits, but Victor did a great job in his director's cut. Like, there was a lot of stuff about the sci-fi stuff that I was, like, definitely got super hands-on about. I tweaked all that stuff, but Victor really worked with these actors well. Got these great performances out of them, and then in the edit bay, picked the right takes and put them together the right way. That's always notable to me. Like, I barely got to say 5 words to him. He'll probably never work for me again because
somewhere in there, every once in a while,
I gave him a script the day before he shot, but he did a great job, and this can never be taken away.
So we keep the cameras rolling, and we edit out the parts we don't like, and we stop thinking about Chris Pratt so much because it is not healthy.
Will you do me a favor?
I never tell anybody about our private conversations. I wouldn't really know how.
Let's cut my stupid scene out of this piece of crap. Then won't we need to add 30 seconds?
I have an idea about that.
Who am I?
That oversells this payoff. It's not really. I mean, so what? He sees him in hell. I don't know.
Am I married? I need more.
That's the kind of thing that writing last minute, like, you can't really. I don't know. There must have been something. If I had thrown this to a room, could have thought of a better, more clever kind of resolution. Look at Gutenberg.
I told you I'd see you in hell.
Look at Gutenberg loves this movie. It just fucking kills me. He was so warm and kind, like so humble and like complimentary. Like he was telling everybody, like, this is the best set I've ever been on, and I don't think he was being like sycophantic. I mean, he was really taken with how professional and smooth everything was running down there, and on the set it is. If Steve Gutenberg could see the way I write and all that stuff, like, but he was just commenting on the emotional health of the set, which made me realize, oh, Mahoney from Police Academy, who was a hero of mine in childhood, is telling me this set is great. Like, and I'm realizing at that point, yeah, we've come a long way, man. Like, this set has not always been emotionally healthy. And this year, if nothing else, every guest person that came in, they always commented on it. It's like, boy, everybody here is so happy and healthy.
All right, one more for safety, Ben.
What do you mean one more for safety?
I just don't know if we got the line, hold on, Slinky.
Let's move on.
I think, can we get one more?
You got it. Come on. Hold on, Slinky. Let's go.
I think it was fine, but Steven's kind of a stickler.
Tell Steven Spielberg to lick my butt.
Well,
There's two endings to this story. You know, should we
Spielberg?
Should we take this scene, this VO scene, which isn't really necessary? We already know that Chang is failing in Hollywood via the James Franco's balls thing. We're not going to be surprised when he comes traipsing back into the study room. Should we just make that the end of the episode? And Sony and Yahoo were talking about, should we take this scene and make it bonus content?
There's a small door in the back of the booth there.
Totally understood it, made perfect sense to me, but I pushed back hard because I just love this scene too much and I didn't want it to get lost in the shuffle. I think it was wrong of me. When I watch this episode, I go, Sony was right. But I don't know, man. Like I just like this scene so much, and I didn't want it to not be part of the story. But it is rhythmically, it's just very awkward that you end the scene this way, end the story this way. Randall Park, Channel 101. Awesome.
Okay, Randall, are you ready?
Yep.
Which brings us to the issue of our cosmetology department, who once again find themselves.
So here's our second of two endings. Yeah, it was right. It was a valid note. And one of the few ones that Max Aronson gave, you know, like he's so hands off and so supportive and awesome because he was a fan of Community coming in and just he works really well with the show. He was right, and I pushed back and I feel dumb about it because I got really pretentious in my pushback. I was like, yeah, it feels wrong, but you know, it feels wrong, like, in a good way, and blah, blah. I just got really high-handed creatively. Like, I just sounded like such an artistic knob. I did mean it. I was like, yeah, well, Ike Turner's amp was wrong when it got a hole in it, but that's the sound, and, you know, like, I was just making all these creative analogies, and I'm like, it's not art, it's a sitcom. It feels weird that there's two endings.
Pink Floyd.
You're the worst.
But I love that last scene, and this one is so important too. Like watching Chang be reabsorbed into this fold. That he can fail out there, and he's always welcome back here. It's so touching and so cynical at the same time. The sigh of relief. Who are these people? Story editor. Doesn't even make sense. You're a writer. How many story editors do we need? Stories are edited. I edit them. Jerks. LeJean Stewart is another Channel 101 guy that you saw in the YouTube videos. All these people. These jerks. Bunch of jerks. All right. I'll see you in the next episode. Love you.